Welcome to the Reality Check, November 27th, 2018. Now, the most distracting thing about the show is me. It's kind of distracting looking at myself here. But we didn't come here to see me, right? We came here to get opinions, stories, facts, and maybe a little humor. Well, we will go for the news and the stories all over the USA, from coast to coast, and maybe back again. That's right. So, big news of the night, Cindy Hyde-Smith inked out a win over Michael Espy. So that's your Mississippi State Senate runoff. It is what it is. Now, there's a lot of things going on. A lot of big news stories. We've seen the hoax photos from the illegal aliens. The mom with the barefoot kids in the photo. And you look around and you see that. What? Everyone else is standing around. How come she's running from the smoke? We've seen this stuff with Palestine before. Here's a lady, and she's dead. And then after the photo's done, she gets up, moves to the next place. She's going to be dead. Unbelievable, right? Or the kids. They show a dead kid, they pick up the body, and they put it somewhere else and take another picture of the dead kid. But that's what we got here. The fake photos. Running away while everybody else is standing on the beach. So in Tijuana, the citizens got so upset, they actually closed down their school because you hear that these people were trying to break into the school, asking kids, hitting up kids for money. Wow. Trying to use the bathrooms, but hitting up kids for money. They're hitting up elementary school kids for money. This is what you get. You have people that don't even know their own language. Sometimes you'll meet people that don't even know their own language. It's not a joke. It's not a slight. Like some people just, I don't know, the parents, other countries it's different. Here, you pretty much have to send your kids to school or teach them at home. And there's a certain level that it should be at. But in some other countries, you go to school or you don't go to school, nobody really cares less. So you have a bunch of people that don't even know their own languages coming over here. They can't even manage to function where they were at. Now, how are they going to manage to function here? It just makes no sense. So the people of Tijuana are very unhappy with this. And, but they only have their own country to blame. Why would they let these people through? If they wanted asylum, when they got to Mexico, they would have asylum. When you're parading through a country with another country's flag, it's just an act of war. Whatever you want to say, it's an act of war. In Tennessee, a hunter spotted a 12-point albino buck in a rare sighting. Almost like seeing a ghost. Pretty amazing. I'm sure you can find some pictures online, but, pretty crazy. Pictures like go back to the border. I don't know. It is what it is. You see people on the fences with their signs demanding this stuff. Migrants getting hurt, jumping over border walls. Now all of a sudden it's our fault because they're trying to rip down stuff. They should be arrested just like anybody else. You break into something, you get arrested. They shouldn't even be allowed in the country. Send them back. Hey, it's funny how everything that Trump's doing, it's on the news, and it's like, oh my God, how could this guy do that? But you clearly see, and you know that Obama did the same thing. Obama used tear gas plenty of times in the border, well over 50 times, probably closer to 100. Not a word on the news. Nobody cared. Now look, this is what it is. If you're trying to get in here illegally, if that's what they need to do, that's what they need to do. It's just, it is what it is. You don't have any rights. You can't demand to come in. You either follow the rules, and if you don't want to, you're an enemy combatant. It's pretty much like that. Whatever. Hey, that's it. So we have that. Now we also have, funny, Maxine Waters. She saying that Republicans and Trump have completely neglected oversight in the banking industry. Yeah, that's true because we remember when her husband's bank, wink wink, got money on a bailout. And we'll get into some bailouts later on, trust me. One of the other big stories today was good old Mueller accuses Manafort of lying to the FBI after plea deal. Firstly, the guy already has life in jail, so like, what did India give him the death penalty? It's really irrelevant. I don't think he would care anyway. He's going to jail for the rest of his life either way. It's that simple. But regardless of the fact, I mean, Mueller's just trying to get back in the news, he doesn't want this guy to sing. He wants him to compose, make up something. But, you know, I'm sure Mueller doesn't even really have it, and, you know, whichever. Yeah. So, switching up gears here, since we've done about 5 minutes of serious stories, we go into our less serious stories, right? Progressive Christian wishes Jesus were as woke as she was. Or maybe the church commits to using only cage-free drummers by 2025. No. How about, here's a good one. This one, actually, though, it's not really much of a joke or a fake story. It's just kind of a real story. Aides force Ocasio-Cortez to watch the entire run of Schoolhouse Rock. As Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez continues to prepare to take office as an actual congresswoman that people in the United States apparently voted for on their own volition, her aides forced her to sit down and watch the entire run of Schoolhouse Rock. You remember the popular education program that teaches youngsters, rudimentary ideas on topics ranging from economy, from the, economics, politics, math, all that stuff, how bills are passed, just the simple stuff. So yes, Schoolhouse Rock would be good for her because maybe she would learn about the branches of government and how bills get to be laws and so forth and so on. Very good indeed. Now, too much winning, right? Trump's tremendous presidenting causing whole caravans of people to enter the U.S. So I guess Trump is winning, and that's why all these people are fast and furious trying to get to America. Scores of people, caravans are coming because Trump's winning, right? If he was losing and it was going downhill, they wouldn't be here. Now, there was a sad story. Everyone knows it was Thanksgiving. And hopefully everyone had a great Thanksgiving and had some good family time. But a recently pardoned turkey was found dead after he claimed to have dirt on Hillary Clinton. Now, I know there's nothing new there, but it's a pretty story that should shake you to the core. Poor guy. Yep. Yeah. Poor turkey was pardoned. And now, sorry. Maybe Thanksgiving Day officially changed to Check Your Privilege Day. No, nobody liked that one. Sorry. Sometimes the jokes are just bad. Now, man, if you think about some of these people like coming to this country, sometimes I look around and I see people that they just don't seem like they work ever, and they have nice cars, and you just start looking around and like, you never see them at work. They have a nice house. They have if you look at it, if you have like a truck or two trucks or an RV or something else, you can easily have almost $200,000 worth of vehicles out in front of your house. So you're thinking, how do they afford that? They have 4 or 5 kids. Well, $600 maybe a month in food stamps, about $600 in cash assistance, rent subsidy, utility assistance, daycare assistance, free medical, free cell phone, free college tuition. And if they even do work 20 hours a week, boom, it's tax-free anyway, because they don't make enough money to pay taxes, right? That's how some of them can afford it. We got stiffs like us who are working every day to be poorer than these people. Now, we always hear how the nice people, the good people, they mean no harm. They mean no harm. They're just coming across the border trying to get into Texas. But for Agent Rogelio Martinez, who was 36, he was killed responding to some of this activity. He was a Border Patrol agent, dead at age 36. His partner is in serious condition. And obviously the FBI took over the case, and officials are currently searching for suspects and witnesses. Not the first time something like this has happened, right? But authorities were searching the Texas Big Bend area for the suspects and witnesses after the U.S. Customs and Border Protection agent Rogelio Martinez was allegedly beaten to death with a rock while on patrol. Now, according to officials, Martinez, 36, and his Big Bend sector partner were responding to activity near Interstate 10 in the Van Horn Station area on Sunday when both suffered serious injuries. Responding agents provided immediate medical care and transported both agents to local hospital where Martinez later died, sadly, of his injuries. His partner has not been named and remains in a local hospital in serious condition. But Martinez had been aboard an agent since August of 2013. And they really just said that the Border Patrol spokesman said they couldn't provide any details on what caused the agent's injuries or what led to them. But a National Border Patrol Council official said that the assailants were undocumented immigrants, illegals. Can we say that? That likely used rocks to beat the agents. They strongly believe that rocks were what was used. You know, there you have it. You had the mysterious, remember a few years ago there was the mysterious thing where there were two agents and supposedly they fell into a ditch, and yeah, I didn't buy that one either. But as you see, this happens more and more and more. So everyone's not here for peace, like they say. Sorry to tell you, but that's not the case, you know. So remember, though, once they get here, they can get well over $3,000 a month in federal assistance, right? You had all that stuff up I talked about before, and yet your grandma, your grandpa, lucky if they get $1,200 a month in Social Security. Think about it, you know. So back to Sunday, right? Remember, there was tear gas involved. And Trump is so bad. And you have the same media who, like I said, nothing to say, right? Nothing to say. When good old Barack Obama did the same thing. You know, not a word from any of these people. You never heard about it before. You would think this is something new. If you didn't know any better, you would think that this was something new and never had happened. The poor people, the migrants, were being hit and fleeing from tear gas. But like I said, it's happening before. These people are basically just trying to, physically overtake the Border Patrol officers there. They just wanted to break in and do whatever. So you have idiots saying that each Border Patrol agent who fired or ordered tear gas to be fired upon these children today should be prosecuted. I mean, what a bunch of dopes. You know, idiots saying they condemn these actions taken by the border. I expect the president to be held responsible for crimes against humanity. That's not humanity. Breaking into a country is not humanity. Sorry. But we have our own people to take care of. We cannot be responsible for everything in the world. We give these countries money to avoid stuff like that. So what's the point? That same, though, exact port in 2013, good old Barack Obama used chemical deterrents. Yeah. Obama's Border Patrol officers used pepper spray and other means to fight back aggressive migrants. Now, illegal aliens, let's get that right, nearly 5 years ago to the day, November 24th, which this happened on November 25th. So November 24th, 2013. So this incident occurred about a quarter-mile west of the San Ysidro border crossing in the Tijuana River Channel. No one was seriously injured. No shots were fired and no arrests were made. The first group of boats, a lone agent stationed about 1/8 of a mile north of the border. They ignored his commands to stop. So he fired pepper balls to try to stop them and protect himself. As the crowd kept advancing and throwing rocks and bottles. So obviously, why do you think the crowd's not shooting him? Well, because they don't have guns. So all they can find are rocks and bottles. So that's what they throw at the agent. What are they doing it for? Well, obviously they want to hurt the agent, incapacitate him, and get where they want to go and take off. So at the time when this happened, like I said, the crowd kept on advancing, throwing rocks and bottles. More agents came to the scene and used other immediate use of force devices to push the group back. And then the agents contacted Mexican law enforcement. So you have migrants, right? Nope. Illegal aliens in 2013 reportedly threw rocks and other projectiles at officers before the officers responded with pepper spray, tear gas pellets, and intermediate use of force devices. Sounds like what just happened this past weekend. But in 2013, I guess there was no NBC, ABC, CBS, MSNBC, CNN, and so forth and so on. No public outcry. Nobody saying Obama was treating the women and children badly who were trying to cross the border. Nothing. No crimes against humanity. No Obama should be held accountable. Nothing. But you do know that just this past Sunday, that the brave men, and they're 80% of the group from what you see, trying to cross the border, put the women and children in front, just like they do in Iran, right? Just like they do in Palestine, or maybe they did in Lebanon back in the day, right? Or Syria, where you get the women and children, or maybe you shoot a missile right from the school. Oops, the school gets hit and the kids die. Looks bad. Look at what Israel did. Yeah, not because you shot a missile from there, right? You know. What else can we say? It's just typical media fraud. That's just it. Isn't it interesting that coverage that our First Lady gets? They're so obsessed with her jacket. She's nasty. She's this, she's that. How dare her say somebody should be fired, blah, blah. She basically should just shut up. Shut up and vote Republican, right? That's what they say. But yet, they don't want any woman to be treated like that. But for her, it's okay. You know, think about it. If she was married to somebody else, somebody they like, if Melania Trump was married to Barack Obama, she'd be the queen of the world. She could wear ugly clothes and people would say how classy it was. You know? She could be wearing a used bicycle tire that cost $2,000, and people would say it was elegant and ahead of its time. And now you look at her, a woman that can speak many languages, and they couldn't care less. A tale of two stories, as you've seen so far tonight. Now, GM, there was a big one, made Trump very angry. Of course, make a lot of Americans angry. So crazy that even the union was on Trump's side in this one. That's funny, because the union's almost never on the Republican side. You know, even though the Democrats pretty much sell them down the river in general. But, so you have GM going to close down some plants in America. It's very interesting now. Firstly, Obama stole the stock from the stockholders and pretty much gave it to his union cronies. So nobody's asked in the media who's really making this decision. Who is GM? Well, GM's his union cronies, right? GM's the rich people, the 1%. Friends of Obama. So now they're closing down plants in America. And people say, well, that's capitalism. And it's true, it is capitalism. And should we care? I mean, okay, we should care, of course, but should we tell them where they can and can't build? No, we shouldn't. It's, you compete, whatever. That's okay. But the situation is different here, see? They asked us for money when they were in trouble. They needed a bailout. We came as taxpayers, unwanted, I must tell you. I had no interest in bailing them out. If they went under, they went under. It is what it is. Companies go if they don't meet the needs of the people. Now, we gave them money, which we got shorted on, and we never got back. You heard the lies during Obama's presidency that they paid back the money. They didn't. They did not pay back the money. What happened is, and if you want to call that paying back the money, then I'd love a bunch of loans myself. They got a loan, let's just say in general, let's say like you'd get a loan for $10,000. And you make a payment or two, and then the government says, we're going to give you another loan for $10,000. So they give you the money and you pay the first loan off. Hey, look, so-and-so paid the loan back. Well, yeah, you paid the loan back because they gave you money for another loan. So in general, you still have one loan. It's just not the first loan. Now it's the second loan they gave you. That's what the shady kind of hand was. And then we got stock. And the stock was valued at whatever per share. And then when we had to sell it because it kept on going down because they were performing so poorly, because you did see they got rid of a lot of the cars that people wanted. I don't say like per se but in general, I mean, Saturn line was destroyed, Hummers, just in general in the car industry, they started getting rid of cars that people wanted, and they went to this junk Prius stuff, the Leaf, all this stuff that not as many people want. It's not a value. The technology is not there. It's not any better for the environment if you look at what waste comes from those cars. And they're more expensive. It takes longer for you to get your money back on them. And there's no guarantee you will. So a lot of people just couldn't afford it. Some people like it. Some people did. But in general, they got rid of the cars people wanted. They tried to force you to buy cars you didn't want. Then they saw that slowed down the market. So we got shortchanged on the stock. So we got shortchanged on everything from this bailout. They never paid back the loan. They just kept on getting more loans. It was a big scam. It was a big shell game. It was a big Ponzi scheme. Anybody who did that in a private business would have been arrested already. Now, again, so this is where we do have the say in this. We paid the money. We don't own the company, obviously, because of Obama's poor decisions, but we put the money in here. And now they're just taking. We bought the toys for them to play with because they had no toys. And now they want to take their toys and play with them somewhere else. And unfortunately that's our fault because we gave them the toys. We should have just said, here's toys we can play with. But we gave it to them. And that was Obama's poor decision. Now we have to live with that. And unfortunately we don't have a lot of leverage. But there are still things we can do to punish them. And it should be the case. They stiffed the American taxpayer after we saved them. You'd think they would be grateful. They not only bit the hand that fed them, they ripped that off and just threw it away. So, that is what it is, right? Now, we had the election tonight, obviously, with the Hyde-Smith, Yeah, it does some stuff, but it really doesn't at the end of the day. What we really need to stay focused on was this election we had a few weeks ago. And you have how easy it is now to steal an election, if you think about it. All you heard, and they said the keywords, and I was very nervous when they started to say it. I was thinking it was just fraud, and we'd find out they were wrong. But they were saying how all these Republicans are going to vote early. They're winning, they're winning, and they're winning. All over the place. They're up. They're ready to go. They're voting early. And actually, that was the signal. The Republicans voted. They voted early. They voted, in the beginning. They voted during the voting time, and then that stopped. And so now they knew what the Republican vote was. So now they knew what they needed to win. So now you delay the final count. Oh, yeah, you're winning. But we're not finished yet. So we found 10,000 more votes. And then you're thinking, okay, well, I'm up by 20, so no big deal. Even if they all go your way, I still win. I win. No, we just found another 8 over here. And we just found another 2 over here. And you're like, but I was up by 20 and you found 20,000. I should still be in the lead. Well, no. No, we just found another 2,000. Okay, so you found 22,000 votes. I was up by 20,000. And I lost by 1,500 votes. That's ridiculous. But that's the way it is. So what you do is you let them vote. You look at the totals. Oh, they won. Oh, but it's not finished. Then you go back. You try to get rid of as many of their votes from technicalities. This is wrong. This isn't right. And then you stuff the ballot boxes with your ballots, and then get some absentee ballots, some provisional ballots, have a few prisoners vote, get some illegal vote, the elderly, deceased, maybe somebody voted twice, who knows, who cares, it counts, because now the election is close, which I don't understand that. So votes that we're not really sure about count when the election's close. No, they shouldn't just count less when the election's close, because, obviously it'd be a way to cheat, and that's what you have. There needs to be a full investigation of these elections, because it needs to be vetted and stopped. Otherwise, this is going to be the same thing that happens next time, and on a much larger and devastating scale. And people say, whatever, said, no, it wasn't one election. It was multiple. And just in the state of Arizona, there were 3 elections, 4 or 5. There are actually, if you go down the list from the smaller ones, there's probably about a dozen elections that got held up, and all of a sudden somebody else won. That's just in Arizona. But multiply that through every state. 400 to 500 seats, all of a sudden change hands from people that thought they'd win. And, oh, by the way, you lost. So, definitely something that needs to be checked out. Just saying. You know me, just saying. Now, we can go back to Mueller. Everyone wants to hear about Mueller. Yeah, he's the great upstanding guy. Firstly, all this guy cares about himself. You want to say Trump is narcissistic? How's Mueller any different? All he's doing is trying to go after Trump specifically. He's not going after the crimes. If he was going after crimes, people would be arrested like the Podestas, right? I mean, think about it. Manafort is being arrested for the same thing that the Podestas did. What's the difference? Crazy. I mean, anything to protect Obama, Clinton, and all these people. I mean, where's even Mueller on the fact that there's no way about this, but Obama basically had a spy inside Trump's campaign. Not only a spy, but in general, they were spying on him, whether it was through technology, through a person, any way you go about it, monitoring communications. They full-on spied on an opposing party campaign to get secrets to win an election. Just think about that. Think about it. Look how hard they worked to smear Carter Page, who did nothing. And they went after him. But yet there's clear crimes in some people. and Stroke, Page. You go down the list. The Podesta brothers are nothing. Not one indictment, not one, nobody. Nobody. It's just corruption. It's corruption. I mean, Mueller he's not any good. I mean, from what he did in Enron and cases that were all overturned. Oh, by the way, nobody even knows that. People's lives were ruined. People killed themselves over a case that was overturned. The Whitey Bulger case, 9/11. I mean, Mueller's been there for some of the most historic times of our country. Mueller's been at, and he's failed in each one of them, and yet you have people telling you this guy is a success. Crazy. And if the guy had any moral integrity in the first place, he wouldn't have been involved in this investigation. It was involving his friend James Comey. Yeah, maybe you want to get it back for him, but still, it's unethical and immoral. But, unbelievable. Arthur Anderson. Remember that one? It's okay. But 2 years and Mueller still has nothing, and he's so desperate. Whichever. I don't know. It's just embarrassing and criminal what Mueller's doing. But, so here we go. Here's a good one. A refugee from Bangladesh was tried by a French court and acquitted of the rape of a high school girl. Girl, amazing. This will be coming to a court in America too. Mark my words. A court in America will see this. So, according to defense of the refugee, they have different cultural norms or cultural codes and could have misinterpreted the contact with the girl. So it could have been just a misinterpreted contact with her. See, experts who investigated the man described him as narcissistic and self-centered, and that in the male culture of Bangladesh, his country of origin, women are regulated to the status of sexual object. Both incidents happened near the end of 2015. The accused, age 18 at the time of the rape, went for a walk with a 16-year-old girl who attended the same high school. He suggested they go to his house. He kissed her, touched her, and groped her genitals. The girl left the room, and then she reported the incident to the principal of her school, who informed the police. In custody, the refugee says that the girl was consenting, and the police closed the case. After which, the young girl attempted suicide in late 2015 and was hospitalized for a week. 4 months later, the refugee was arrested again. And, of course, he was acquitted. So, it's just going to be the new norm that you see. Cultural differences. The codes, right? Different norms. So, like me and you, when we go into a new state and you have to, abide by the rules, know the speed limit, know this and that, no right turn on red in these states, yada yada. But if you're these people, you just, we have a different cultural code. I thought it was okay just to run up to girls and grab them or touch them. I didn't know. Different cultural code. Unbelievable. So, interesting. Here we go. Our educational system. So I don't know how real this is, but I came across this thing, and it was sexual education materials, and these are supposedly cleared for 5-year-olds. Hopefully Betsy DeVos can look into this. But I can't even read what it says on here. There's little cartoon pictures, so it's obviously geared towards little kids. And there's a mom and a dad. Dad's on top of the mom. As they cuddled, your dad's blank moved gently inside your mom's blank, and the blank flowed out. Yeah. And then you have, here are some ways mummies and daddies fit together. So maybe this is not for America. Maybe this is for England. And then the next subject down here, wow, you have a picture of a baby in a crib with maybe mommy feather tickling baby's belly, it looks like. And it says, describing the big O. But it doesn't say the big O. Describing in, it's a difficult feeling to describe. But if you can imagine we'll just leave it at that. I won't read the rest. And then they have explanation of adult language. The E word, the M word, the O word, and prostitute. So I guess you could say prostitute. So if you didn't know, prostitute, a person who is paid money or in any other way to have sex with someone else. Now you know what a prostitute is. And then, of course, not to be left out, they have the straight and gay couple. Sometimes, as children are growing up, boys become curious about other boys, and girls become curious about other girls. They may look at and even touch each other's bodies. This is a normal kind of exploring and does not have anything to do whether a girl or a boy will be heterosexual or homosexual. Just so you know, coming to a school near you. So I guess the Canadians are back in the postal game, and they forced an end to the strike. Still probably have to negotiate and figure out a real deal for these people, but they did force an end to their big strike, and then maybe they can catch up. Yeah, there was a nice picture of the refugees floating in the river, barely hanging on the ocean. And whoops, I think they were supposed to use the condensed camera screen there because you see a guy standing up and the water's not even to his midsection. So much for the struggling people that are floating around. Now, you see these fake photo ops there. Remember when they had the storms and you would see the wind's blowing him, and you see two dudes walking around in their shorts like nothing happened in the background. So, typical fraud. What you see on TV, you really can't believe almost anything. It's so bad sometimes you see regular stories and you're thinking, it's just probably not true because mostly whatever they tell me is a lie. Now, if you guys didn't know, you were getting ready for Thanksgiving last week, going about your stuff and doing your, getting your family plans ready, getting stuff, whether it's cleaning your house for your guests or packing up to go see somebody else. Don't be worried, California, because your governor, Jerry Brown, was hard at work. Ahead of the Thanksgiving holidays, California Governor Jerry Brown pardoned 38 criminals including fellow Democrat Roderick Wright, who was convicted and jailed for voter fraud. Wait, did I just curse on the air? Because I swear they said there was no such thing as voter fraud. So, of course, Jerry Brown, in the festive spirit, also pardoned immigrant criminals, a murderer, then convicted of armed robbery and manslaughter. Besides, or aside from the outpouring of pardons, the Democratic governor also commuted the sentences for 70 convicts still serving jail time. It's 108 new people who could vote, and citizens on the streets. And those included Walter Woods, who co-hosts a podcast called Ear Hustle from inside San Quentin State Prison. Good old Walter can do a show now outside of prison. It was very interesting that the former Democrat state senator convicted of felony voter fraud for lying about his residence. Good old Brown got his buddy, Roderick Wright. Nice. So this guy was pretty much freed. He barely spent any time in jail. He was already freed. Now, former Senator Roderick Wright, which I'm sure he can run again and win, who was convicted on felony charges of voter fraud and perjury in 2014, when the Los Angeles County jury determined he lived outside the district he represented. So, the legislation actually had since changed a law to make Wright's situation legal, which basically made it easier to clear the way for the pardon. Nice, right? But don't worry, everybody he pardoned or commuted, they'll be upstanding citizens. Don't worry, they will be assets to society. Don't worry, they weren't in jail for anything else but being assets to society. Nice, right? Brown also pardoned Tung Nguyen, who was convicted of murder and robbery in 1994. Why? Because good old Nguyen risked his life to save civilians during a prison riot. He's become a tireless advocate for juvenile justice reform. Winning. So, here's another guy who was convicted of voluntary manslaughter in 1997 when a passenger car was driving, shot and killed another driver. And this guy now owns 7 restaurants in Southern California. Nice. All of these people have been well behaved. That's great. So that doesn't that's on top of the other convicts that were facing deportation that he freed, right? Well, but he also did free some guy who was convicted of drug charges in 94. And he just lost his home in a wildfire that spread through the town of Paradise. So obviously this dude was pretty well off. And now he's pardoned. Great. This dude's issued almost 1,600 pardons in his time as governor. Wow. Now, that doesn't even include commutations. And if you add the well over 400 pardons that his dad had, I mean, you're looking at close to about 2060, 2060-ish. Great, outstanding citizens on the street thanks to the Browns. Unbelievable. So if you think about it, from 91 to 2010, you had Wilson, Gray Davis, and Arnold Schwarzenegger. Combined handed out 15. The good thing you got the Browns in there, making it safe again for California. And releasing the voter fraud guy, I mean, just tells you they don't seem to care about it. They've never been concerned or anything interested in catching voter fraud. Yeah, what else is new, right? What else is new? No big deal. You know, we have, what's funny, Ocasio-Cortez always making the news. Let's see, what'd she say? Yellow cab drivers are in financial ruin due to unregulated expansion of Uber, which I totally agree and couldn't believe they let happen. But you think about it, good statement, good job. But as the typical Democrat, the way she lives her life is way different than she speaks about her life, right? Because her campaign spent $4,000 on Uber rides just from April to June alone. I mean, do these people just, I'd say, do they even think? But I guess the answer is, they don't think. Now, another story we had that the judge overturned the law against female genital mutilation. So, not really a word on the news about it. But you basically had the judge overturning a federal law against female genital mutilation. And basically, a girl was brought across state lines to get that performed in America in the year 2018. We still have this going on. Another judge who's not giving a decision based on facts, but giving personal opinion. Pretty pathetic. You know, where are the, I mean, first we gotta ask, do these women have rights? Where are the pink hat brigades? You know? When are we headed for Sharia law? That seems like what they want. And yet no news is even covering this. Yeah, it's basically liberals being cowards. They never stand up. Oh, we want this, we want that, and then a certain group of people say, oh, yeah, we can't attack a group of people. We can't stand up for anything. And these people know they just come to this country and attack all the U.S. laws because they know they have rights and they'll be protected. That's it. I mean, you would think that a state would deny a license to practice for any doctor who engaged in this type of mutilation. Hospitals shouldn't even allow them on their staff. And that's it. It's just that simple, and then this could stop. I don't know. I mean, it's crazy. We can't even... You're going to court with, like, softballs, and they can't even hit it. Unbelievable. It's just too many activist judges around. And that's what the biggest damage that liberalism has done to this country. The mental order of liberalism has done that big damage. But in better news, if you want to speak about women's rights, good thing we can have Michael Avenatti, Keith Ellison ticket for 2020. That'll be all about women's rights, and I bet they'll hit that right out of the ballpark. Yay, no? Yay? Yeah. Great ticket for women to see. Now, back to my home state. Good old New Jersey. Yes, New Jersey. New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy said he would be setting aside more than $2 million in taxpayer funds to defend illegal aliens who are facing deportation proceedings. So the governor's budget agreement allocates $2.1 million towards several legal aid groups for low-income people, setting aside $925,000 to Legal Services of New Jersey and the American Friends Service Committee, and $125,000 to each of New Jersey's 2 law schools, Rutgers Law and Seton Hall University Law. The funds come from Murphy's state budget for the current fiscal year. Crazy, huh? So, unbelievable. Your taxpayer money is going to defend people who broke the law to get here. This is why you're paying $10,000 in property tax. Hey, let me tell you, in Arizona, we only pay a few $100s a year in property tax. Why? Because we're not paying for that junk. We probably are. That would be sad. But this is one of the reasons in New Jersey that you're paying this much money in taxes, because they have to pay for all this stuff. I mean, you think how ridiculous it is. Foreign nationals getting taxpayer money. Unbelievable. And yet, New Jersey just keeps on voting these same people in the government positions, and that's it. Just a bunch of fools. They approved this by re-electing these fools. And you'll hear nothing about it. Everyone will be silent. And that's why you'll have the rich just leaving the state. The poor will keep on working because they have no choice. You can't afford to move. Welcome to New Jersey. That's what I saw my life was, and that's why I actually left. Because living in New Jersey, I knew that I would never be able to own a house. And that was the goal of mine, owning my own house. And I knew in New Jersey that would never be the case with the taxes. I mean, you can make 70, 80 grand and be single, and you can barely survive there. You know? Yeah. Poor, poor New Jersey. Poor, poor New Jersey it is. It is pretty sad. It's got a lot of assets of greatness, just like California. You have your beaches, you have your fun areas, you have different climates. And it's all ruined by the liberalism, the high taxes, you don't even get to enjoy much of the quality of life because you have to work so much just for everything. I mean, think about it. You're in New Jersey, cross over to New York for anything, not just for pleasure, but for work, you have to pay a toll. If you want to go down south in New Jersey because you want to go to the shore or visit some relatives or friends, you have to pay a toll. Everything you do, you're paying the toll. You know, tolls and fines all over to park your car, meters everywhere, tons of property taxes, tax upon tax upon tax. And all your money's going to help out other people. Not for you. Just go and help out other people, who most aren't even grateful to be here. It's just sad. It's a sad state of affairs, unfortunately. But I don't know. What a waste of money. You know, if the government didn't waste money, it would be a much, much better place. Right? A much better place. So, the Department of Justice unsealed charges against 8 individuals in alleged widespread digital advertising fraud. They reportedly used botnets to give the appearance of billions of humans looking at online ads. Not shocking that you learn most of the internet is just not really what you thought. 31 domains, 89 servers, all seized. The alleged fake ad network rented more than 1,900 computer servers and used them to create ads on fake websites, giving the appearance that humans were viewing the ads on the spoof domains and causing businesses to pay more than $7 million for commercials. Now, what business, after you're paying, and obviously I know it was tons, but what business is spending this much on advertising and not seeing any return? They just don't keep track of it, or you're spending this much money, you see no jump, like it'll be time to stop or check out. I don't know how these people even run business. Sometimes you gotta wonder. It's just amazing. I don't know. It is just amazing. But who knows? Football's coming down to the end. Hockey's in full swing. A lot of sports news. Baseball is at Hot Stove League soon, right? And I don't know. Wow. What do we have? UFC, right, soon? What events are coming up for the UFC? There were some fights this weekend. I think there's a fight night, is it? So we have December 8th, so we still have 2 more weeks, or no, next week's show, I guess. Our first show in December. We'll have to go over the double championship fight, UFC 231, which ought to be interesting. Brian Ortega, Max Holloway fight, and Joanna Jędrzejczyk, right? Joanna, am I going to say it right? Jędrzejczyk fight. Yeah. And she's going to be fighting Valentina, so that'll be a good fight. Yeah. Alistair Overeem won this weekend. That was pretty cool. And Francis Ngannou got back to his normal self and actually destroyed Blade. So that's a pretty interesting one. So finally, what we got to take from tonight is the election season is over, and the Mueller investigation is not. Election fraud, we need to be aware. Clinton's first day of their big tour, right? The Bill and Hillary show, power couple, speaking to a half-empty arena. And yet they'll be blaming Trump on their big comedy tour. Bill and Hillary, and I'm sure Hillary will have the coughing fits as the lies add up. Maybe that's what it is. Sometimes they say, how do you know if this person's lying? And you're like, well, when they're moving their lips, they're lying. So maybe it's for Hillary, it's if she's not coughing, she's lying. So every once in a while when she coughs, she's telling the truth. But the rest of the time she's lying? I don't know. But that's all we could take from today's show. So, have a safe and happy week. Thank you for tuning in to the Reality Check and supporting us. And we will head into December and close out another fine year of the Reality Check.